The Bryan Harsin experiment did not work out at all with the Auburn Tigers. Fans started to not like him. Boosters started to not like him. So out he went. Enter Hugh Freeze. Former Ole Miss and Liberty head coach looks to right the ship at a program like Auburn, and he's got the makings for everything you need to be a sleeper team in a conference like the SEC. So will Auburn start to right the ship and even exceed expectations in year one under Hugh Freeze, or will this program need a little bit of time to get back up off the ground? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel. It's prediction season, and that means I'm predicting all 133 college football FBS level teams. And if that means I'm predicting your favorite team, why don't you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when your favorite team gets uploaded. But hey, you can support my channel in more ways than just doing that. You're doing one right now by watching the video. Why don't you also leave a like, comment, share, really do anything you can to help support the channel, because whatever you do, it means a lot to me. Getting into Auburn in 2023, bringing in one of the most talented transfer portal classes of this cycle. And Hugh Freeze has got all the makings again to be a sleeper team this year. How preview and predictions work in 2023. We're going to go through a roster overview, kind of look at who teams lost, who's returning, and who they brought in through the transfer portal and recruiting class. And then we're going to go ahead and game-by-game preview Auburn's 2023 football schedule. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Auburn football in 2023. Let's look at the roster first and foremost. Zach Calzada and TJ Finley, a couple quarterbacks that are gone. Now, I believe TJ Finley ended up being that day one starter for Auburn last year, but he was not very good in terms of the entire length of the season. Only one touchdown, 4 picks throughout the entire year. He was replaced by Robbie Ashford. Now, Robbie Ashford's numbers were not earth-shattering either. 1,613 yards, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, under 50% completion percentage. That was all he was able to muster up all year long. So, what do you do to save the quarterback situation? You transfer in a guy like Peyton Thorne. Now, he is not going to be an earth-shattering option. He's not a super huge name at the quarterback position either, but he is a solid player. He plays the position the right way, and he has had his fair share of big moments as well. Remember the year in Michigan State in 2021, Mel Tucker's first year? Yeah, Peyton Thorne was that quarterback, ended up leading Michigan State to a New Year's Six bowl game win. So Peyton Thorne, I think, has got the tools to be able to have good success at a program like Auburn University. And also when you take a look at the skill positions for Auburn this year, by the way, I do think Peyton Thorne will be that day one starter for the Auburn Tigers. Robbie Ashford might get playing time. He was second on the team in rushing last year, but I think it's Peyton Thorne's job. Speaking of rushing, Tank Bigsby, 970 yards, 10 touchdowns, is gone off last year. However, you do return Jarquez Hunter, who was the third leading rusher on the team. There are some off-the-field stuff that he's got to get figured out, some legal stuff as well. Not going to get into it, but all that you need to know is if he's ready to go for this Auburn program, he'll be a very good option at running back. If not, you got Damari Alston and some other names back there that'll be leading the way in the running back position. Wide receiver room, you do lose Shedrick Jackson, was your fourth leading receiver last year, just over 200 yards. No touchdowns for him on the year, though. But you get a lot of it coming back. Javarius Johnson and Coy Moore return, and you got some really high-profile transfers coming in. Nick Martiner, former Hawaii Rainbow Warrior, and most recently Cincinnati Bearcat transfers in, as well as Jair Shorter, really speedy guy over from North Texas, will be a really good threat for them. They also get a guy that's not on the list in Caleb Burton over from Ohio State, former 4-star high school recruit. Tight end room, you lose John Samuel Schenker, your fifth leading receiver from last year, but you get a really, really good tight end transfer in Rivaldo Fairweather coming over from Florida International, or FIU, was a really good weapon for the Panthers. Could be an NFL-level tight end. He transfers over to Auburn and will be a very, very good weapon for them, I am sure. Offensive line, you're going to lose Killian Zierer, but return Cameron Stutz, and a lot of transfers coming in what will be a new-look offensive line for Auburn. Dylan Wade, Avery Jones, Gunnar Britton, just some of the transfers they are bringing in, but those are the guys that are going to end up competing for some starting spots. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, you lose your 2 sack leaders from last season by a long shot. Derek Hall and Colby Wooden, both gone off the defensive line, 6.5 and 6 sacks, respectively, from last season. However, you are going to return Marcus Harris and Jason Jones, and you're going to get a lot of talented transfers coming in as well. Justin Rogers from Kentucky, Mosiah Nasili-Kite from Maryland, and Elijah McAllister from Vanderbilt. Also a couple freshmen coming in Keldrick Falk and Darren Reed. This is this is going to prove to be a very deep, very good defensive line for the Auburn Tigers this year. In the linebacker room, you lose your leading tackler from last year, 92 tackles with Owen Popo, and Akuliota leaves as well. But you do return your second leading tackler in Cam Riley. You also get Wesley Steiner, Eugene Asante back, and you get a talented transfer in Austin Keys to help lead the linebacking core as well. Defensive back group, well, it's a party back there because everybody comes back for Auburn. Your 6 leading tacklers out of the secondary return. That's Keontae Scott, DJ James, Zion Puckett, Nehemiah Pritchett. Again, I apologize if I say names wrong. Donovan Kaufman and Jalen Simpson all come back to what should be a really good secondary for the Auburn Tigers. So in a mix of good returning talent, especially if Jarquez Hunter can get things figured out, along with lots of talented transfers, Auburn's got everything they need for this upcoming year and next year to be a really, really solid team in the SEC, and a team that could even break some ground this year as well, jumping into things that start exceeding expectations for Auburn. As we go ahead and take a look at Auburn's 2023 football schedule, if you see a game and date underlined, that's going to be a home game. A game in italics or the slanted text will be a road game for Auburn. Neutral site games listed accordingly, although Auburn has none on the schedule. A game in green is a game I see Auburn winning easily. A game in yellow is a game where, okay, watch out. Auburn maybe could lose this one, but it's a game I still have them winning, and red is a loss. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the Auburn Tigers in 2023 will start out with a very easy win against UMass, one of the worst teams in the FBS ranks. I don't see UMass being competitive in this game at all. Auburn should be able to win this one easily. They get a nice, easy win to start off before what I think is a very underrated game. Going on the road to play Cal is not going to be easy for the Auburn Tigers. Now, Cal is a team that plays in a very deep conference in the Pac-12, much like the SEC. The Pac-12 is going to be a very deep conference this year. When I look at this Cal team, I see a lot of good weapons offensively, a lot of good weapons defensively, and this is the team that I think is going to give Auburn fits and give Auburn really quite a worrisome time. However, I do think Auburn, at the end of the day, is the more talented team, and I think their talent is going to prevail. This is a very, very close-knit game. If Cal wins this one, do not be surprised, but at the end of the day, Auburn is the more talented team. I'm going to go with them. I went back and forth on this game quite a bit, but I am going to settle with Auburn at the end of the day. I think they're going to be put in a better position to succeed against a team like Cal. And there you go. Auburn ends up beating Cal, improving the 2-0, and they'll improve the 3-0 with a nice, easy win over Samford, an FCS level program. So Auburn, you're feeling good. You're starting 3-0, and then the gauntlet of their SEC schedule begins. They got to go on the road to play in Kyle Field against Texas A&M, and this is a make-or-break year for Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher is trying to coach for his job. The talent level at A&M is there. There are a couple new coaching staff pieces there as well. And this is the game that I could see going back and forth. I think Auburn's going to start to get on a roll here. But I think they're just going to run into a saw blade in Texas A&M. I think they're going to take a tough loss on the road in Kyle Field to pick up their first loss of the year. And I misspoke earlier. Here is where the buzzsaw comes in Georgia. Auburn gets this game at home, the oldest rivalry in the Deep South. And I think Auburn can fight all they want. I do not think they are going to get past the Georgia Bulldogs in any capacity. Georgia's back-to-back national champions for a reason. While, again, I do think, and I said this in my Georgia video, I highlighted this game in yellow for Georgia because Auburn definitely has the potential to keep this one exciting and keep this one close. But I do believe Georgia will be walking away victors once it's all said and done. And then you get your bye week. Okay, you've taken a couple tough losses. Now you get to prepare for what's going to be a really tough road game on the road against LSU here in week 7. And this is another game where I think Auburn is just going to get outclassed. Much like the game against Georgia, LSU, I think, has also got one of the most talented rosters in America. They got a really deep running back room. Jaden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier are two quality quarterbacks. Harold Perkins on the defensive side is one of the best defensive players in America, if not the best. LSU is going to outclass Auburn, and they're going to walk away victors in that one in Death Valley after the Battle of the Tigers. And then they got to play Ole Miss. Now, this is a very winnable game for Auburn, and it would not surprise me at all to see Auburn win this game. However, saying that, you probably know what that leads to. I do think Auburn drops this game. With all that is returning in this Auburn secondary and all the transfers they have coming in on the defensive front, I think Auburn has what it takes to be able to slow down the likes of Jackson Dart, Quinshon Judkins, and whatever this Ole Miss offense can throw at it. I just don't think they're going to be able to stop it often enough. I think Ole Miss's offense is going to be too explosive, too fast-paced for Auburn to keep up with. So Auburn suffers their 4th straight loss, and things are starting to slip away for the Auburn Tigers. However, I do believe that things will get back on track here against Mississippi State. Mississippi State's got a lot of question marks for me, and I don't quite know how Mississippi State is going to fare away from Starkville this year. And I'm not confident in Mississippi State's abilities to go on the road in a very tough environment in Jordan-Hare Stadium and be able to pull off a win like this one. So I do have Auburn beating Mississippi State. Again, I think Auburn has what it takes to be able to slow down the big playability of Will Rogers and whatever Mississippi State throws at it. Mississippi State's got a very good big play offensive coordinator, and they also do have a new head coach, though, however, in Zach Arnett, who, sorry, just trying to find words here. Anyways, what I'm trying to say about this game, I had thoughts about this game, and they just left me. I'll just go ahead and leave it at this. I don't trust Mississippi State on the road in a tough situation like this. I think Auburn is going to go ahead and win that game. No idea where my thoughts went on that game. I deeply apologize for me spacing out. Okay, moving on here, Vanderbilt. While Vanderbilt is going to be an improved team, and they're going to be a lot better than what their Vegas win totals say right now, I think Vandy's going to give Auburn a fight here. I really do. I just don't see them being able to pull it out against the Auburn Tigers, which leads me to this game against Arkansas. And if you've watched my Arkansas preview, Razorback fans may not have been happy with it, but I did have Auburn beating Arkansas on the road. A lot of questions for me with the Arkansas Razorbacks, right? Is KJ Jefferson going to be healthy? Is who's going to be catching the football for KJ Jefferson? How do they reload in the linebacking group and the defensive back group? Now, a lot of those questions may be figured out by this point, and they may be, oh, they reloaded or they didn't, right? But when I take a look at this Arkansas and Auburn game, I needed another win for Auburn just because what I do is I go ahead and look and say, okay, this is a blank and blank. This is, I'd say, a 9-3 team, and then I go ahead and find like the 3 most common losses or the losses where I think are going to happen. Need another win for Auburn. I think they're going to be able to beat this game, or I think they're going to be able to win this game in Fayetteville against Arkansas. They should get an easy win against New Mexico State before, again, I think they're going to get outclassed by the University of Alabama. Just too much talent there in the University of Alabama. Again, a game that wouldn't necessarily be surprised if Auburn won, but a game much like Georgia and LSU where I just think Auburn's going to get outclassed, which leads me to a record of 7-5. Which may be a little better than some people think Hugh Freeze is going to do at the University of Auburn. I've seen a lot of 6-6s. So 7-5, just right about there, but this can definitely be a team that can beat Texas A&M. Again, they can beat Ole Miss, and they can be a really solid football team in 2023. But that's going to go ahead and do it. Reminder, hey, please subscribe, comment, do anything you can to help support the channel. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder, and I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.